Growing up, I was often referred to as an old soul, and I proudly wore that moniker like a badge of honor. You see, I was born the only child of only children, so other than my friends at school and church, I spent a great deal of time surrounded by grown-ups. Every summer I spent at least a month with my maternal grandparents in Arizona, and in my time with them, I developed a deep love for history, tradition, travel, old movies, Bing Crosby, and Frank Sinatra. I often credit my grandparents for helping to guide my sense of style at a young age. We're blessed to have many of their treasured pieces in our home, and my parents for fostering my creative spirit and for allowing me to express that spirit in my childhood home. My parents, bless their heart, watched me constantly change the layout of my bedroom and endlessly experiment with the vignettes on our living room coffee table and end tables. All of them played a part in my lifelong love of interior design and decorating. And in many ways, this channel wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for them and their undeniable influence on my life. God only knows how much I wish they could have all been here to see this. My mom especially would have loved that I had a YouTube channel, and that so many of our treasured family pieces were front and center. The definition of a conundrum, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is an intricate and difficult problem. Do I find that an accurate description of my relationship with winter decorating? Yes, I do. Winter decorating is definitely a conundrum for me. It's no longer Christmas and not yet spring. There is generally an overwhelming need to declutter and simplify, but at the same time, I'm a maximalist at heart. It can be so hard for me to find a clear design direction this time of year, and in years past, I've just thrown up my hands and basically done nothing. And I suppose that's okay too. But this year, I really have tried to strike a design balance. I've left a few pieces from my Christmas decor out, things like some simple wreaths and pine cones that can easily transition into winter. But I've also brought in fresh green branches from our yard that harken to the season to come. It's all about balance. As is the case for most people who love interior design, my design philosophy has changed greatly over the years. When I was in my early 20s, I thought that everything had to be brand new, and Lord knows my budget couldn't keep up with that. But as I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate secondhand pieces for the unique look that they can give our home and for the much lower price. As I've mentioned before, thrifting isn't something that I've always done. I didn't grow up with family that shopped at thrift stores, so it honestly wasn't even on my radar until my college years. And even then, if I bought secondhand, I was mostly looking for clothing, not home decor. However, in the last 2 or 3 years, I'd say, my eyes have truly been opened to all the possibilities at places like thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, and online marketplaces like Mercari have to offer. This year, I would absolutely love to find a new sectional sofa and a large rug for our living room. And fingers crossed, I can find the perfect pieces at a perfect price on the secondhand market. With the Christmas tree put away, it was time to bring my grandparents' library stand back into the living room. During the holidays, I had stripped the paint off of it and returned it to a dark stained finish, just as it had been in their home. I've also decided to style it exactly as I did in our bedroom makeover video from the end of December, because I really did love it that way. I'll probably change it up for the spring, but for now I've decided to leave it as is for the remainder of the winter. These wreaths were used in our dining room during the holidays, and I decided to hang them with cream-colored ribbons on these 2 tall mirrors that I DIY'd last year. I think adding small wreaths to these mirrors adds cozy cottage charm to the space all year round. And yes, I still had the Sleepy Hollow sign up that I made for Halloween. I have plans to make a similar one that says Lawrence House. I thought that would be a fun touch in here and a nod to the YouTube channel. If I do end up doing that, I will be sure to show y'all the process. After taking a step back, I realized that the mantle was still missing something. So I gathered up twine and scrap material to make a simple banner. I made a template out of a piece of paper and began to trace out the shape on the back side of the fabric so as to not have pencil markings on the front. Once all of the pieces were traced and cut out, I think I did about 10 or 11 total, I now needed to attach them to the twine. Since my hot glue gun seems to have grown legs and ran away from me, I used fabric glue that I had on hand to adhere the individual fabric pieces to the twine. I did my best to space them evenly. Lastly, since I was using fabric twine instead of hot glue, I did have to allow the glue to set for a couple of hours to make sure that nothing came loose and that everything was properly adhered. Fabric banners are such an easy and inexpensive way to add cozy cottage charm into a space. For the spring, I'm thinking of doing something similar but with a floral patterned fabric that I think is going to be really, really sweet. Okay guys, that's it for this week's video. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know that things have been a little bit topsy-turvy over these first few weeks of the new year. I am feeling so much better though, thank goodness. So thank you guys all so much for your thoughts and your prayers. Migraines are no joke, and over the last few years, it's something that periodically I've kind of struggled with, but typically they are not nearly as bad as the one that I had last week. That one really did a number on me. But before we end this video, I do want to ask y'all to do me a favor. So when my girls were small, I used to decorate for Valentine's Day all the time. I would get cute little pieces of decor from the Target dollar spot and just try to make it really sweet and fun for them. Well, fast forward now, they're teenagers, and I do Valentine's Day baskets for them, but I don't really decorate the house for Valentine's Day. But I've kind of been itching to do it this year. I've got some ideas for a really simple, romantic kind of, I don't know, not really taking away from what I've done like today in this week's video, but kind of adding some maybe blush pink touches to it, some ribbons, some flowers. I don't know. I've been tossing around a few ideas, but I wanted to see if that was something that you guys would even be interested in seeing from me. So if you wouldn't mind, let me know in the comments if a Valentine's Day decorating video is something you would be interested in. I would more than likely do that in next week's video because Valentine's Day is quickly approaching. I think by the time that video would come out, it would just be 2 weeks away. So anyhow, let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like to see from me, and I will for sure make that happen. I think it could be really pretty. The ideas that I've got in my head, there'd be maybe a couple of small DIY projects, like I said, ribbons, flowers, just sort of incorporating that romantic touch. I've got an idea for another banner for the mantle that I think would be really sweet. So anyhow, let me know in the comments. Thank y'all again for watching this week's video. I appreciate you guys all so very much, and I am having the best time making these videos for y'all. So until next week, bye now.